Maybe you've been working on working out so you can look sexier, or buying lingerie to feel and be more attractive, or doing everything you can to essentially seek validation from your partner in the form of sexual desire. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. We are in our last of the perimenopause series, talking about initiating when we have higher desire. And if you are there, you know the feeling all too well. The flutter of hope when you reach out, followed by the crushing weight of rejection, or worse, the dreaded shutdown. Let's be honest, right? Like for so many of us, that no feels like a personal rejection. It feels like I'm not attractive enough, or they don't desire or love me anymore. We internalize it and it chips away at our confidence, making us less likely to try again. We sort of get into that fuck it mode, right? And maybe you've been working on working out so you can look sexier, or buying lingerie to feel and be more attractive, or doing everything you can to essentially seek validation from your partner in the form of sexual desire. That's what's really happening here. And I want you to just pause with that for a minute, right? What we're doing is saying, love me, love me, love me, love me, love me. Show me that you love me. Prove to me that you love me. Prove to me that I'm attractive. We're in this chasing dynamic that can end up being a turn off in and of itself. So today I want to interrupt that story for you. I want to flip it, because the no most of the time does not mean I don't desire you, and it doesn't mean I don't love you. It means my system is overwhelmed right now. So this is where we need to get a little tactical, because it all comes down to the nervous system. I hope that's like the refrain you're taking away if you've been a long time listener, right? When your partner is running on high alert, they're juggling work, kids, their body's a flaming hot mess. Their nervous system is in a state of sympathetic dominance. That's the fight or flight response. And when that is activated, the parasympathetic rest and digest, or in our case, rest and receive pleasure, is offline. So when you initiate in a way that feels like a demand, which just any initiation can feel like a demand, or even just an expectation, you might be inadvertently hitting the brake pedals on their intimacy, which we talked about in the last episode. So it's not a rejection of you, it's a system overload. And here's the reframe that I want you to think of, right? Instead of seeing it as a no, as a dead end, as those red lights we talked about, we need to see it as information. It's your partner's body telling you, hey, I am not quite in the space for this right now. My system needs a little care, a little calm, a little more safety, a little more connection before I can lean into sex. And this is why your old moves might not be working anymore. The direct approach, the expectation of immediate desire, can feel like pressure. And pressure, my friends, is the fastest way to make someone not want sex with you. It's like forcing a flower to bloom. It's just not going to happen. And we talked a lot last time about how we need to create the conditions for those flowers to bloom. The other thing I kind of want to speak to here is I talk a lot about playfulness. I feel like playfulness is a key ingredient in bringing our sex life back. And sometimes playfulness can read as kind of like immaturity. And so what I mean by that is when we're going in for an approach to our partner, first of all, and this was in our first or second episode, we talked about how if we're not doing the daily connection and touch with our partner, then the only time we're going in is when we're asking for that naked fun, that naked sex, that naked intimacy. Then it can kind of flip the switch. The other piece is if we approach in this like shy, tentative, unconfident way because we've had a cycle of rejection, it's almost less attractive, right? It's not an energy our partner necessarily wants to respond to. And one of the ways we can show up as shy and tentative is trying to be playful, but it actually coming across as childish and immature. And sometimes that's a reflection of our own comfort with sexuality. And sometimes it's us trying to be like a little bit dorky to lighten the mood. I see this more often with penis owners, but it's things like spinning your dick around or just, I don't know, approaching in that like jokey about sex over the top kind of way. And I'm just going to let you know in conversations I have with women in forums that I've seen, like, this is a huge turnoff. And the reason it's a turnoff is because you're not showing up with leadership energy. You're not showing up with an energy that is like calm and in control. And I don't mean like robotic. I mean this sense of like, I am in charge of this situation. I have got things covered. You can relax and surrender. And there's this art in initiating of doing it consensually, where we're asking the other partner what would they want and checking in with them, but not being so tentative and nervous and unassured that we create the wrong kind of vibe, right? Like when we approach with leadership, which we talked about 2 episodes ago, with that confidence piece, there's something for our partner to respond to that works better for them. So I'm just going to pause here for a minute because I've spoken to like 3 reasons why things can backfire. Okay. One is the nervous system piece where your partner's in stress or overload. And so when you are initiating and you are not tuned into where your partner is on their stress scale, you are making an invite that their body can't say yes to. And we have to learn the art of creating room in their nervous system so that there's room for them to say yes. The second piece that I spoke to is that chasing dynamic. When we put too much focus on our partner's sexual interest in us as a form of validation for our love and for our attractiveness, when we are chasing, or kind of have that like anxious attachment, right, where we're smothering and we're looking for those things, it can make another person scurry away from us. And the third piece that I spoke to there is essentially about leadership and confidence. So we want to be showing up in a way where we're not already guarded, tentative, and, you know, ooh, pick me kind of vibes. We want to be showing up like, hey, I already know I'm worthy because I'm worthy. I already know I'm attractive because I'm attractive. I already know you love me because I am secure in that. And I'm going to walk this line of like offering something to you and taking charge of the situation, but doing it in a way that's super consensual and respectful of your boundaries. And when I can walk that line of confidence and consent at the same time, I create an energy that my partner can respond to. So this is not about not being vulnerable. Vulnerability is part of leadership. It's about being aware of how we're approaching. So an example of that is when I'm feeling all these kinds of nerves about initiating, because you've turned me down so many times, and a way of bypassing that and not being vulnerable and not showing leadership of myself and of the situation would be to make a half-hearted attempt that my partner can barely even notice so that I get confirmation, essentially, like create a self-fulfilling prophecy, or to be all dorky and weird and like shake my penis at my partner or my boobs at my partner, like after I get out of the shower and do something kind of like passive aggressive or just like jokey, right? And this is a way of communicating. Essentially, I'm having a lot of feels about this that I cannot express. And it creates a weird vibe because your partner can tell that there's emotions under this, but they're just getting like very mixed signals. Whereas instead, if we can approach with leadership, that can look like, hey, I love you so much and I miss touching you. And I would like to connect with you. And I'm just going to admit out loud that that's how I'm feeling. I was wondering if maybe we could do A or B tonight. What do you think? Already the vibe's entirely different because I'm showing up to the situation being like, I know where I'm at and what I'm feeling. I'm willing to share it and risk sharing it. And I'm willing to create a space where we can have a conversation. And I'm not going to make you do the mental load of figuring out what we're going to do. I'm going to offer you two choices, and you can pick one, or you can also counter negotiate and come up with something else. Because it's easier for my partner whose nervous system is overwhelmed to edit or amend a concrete offer than it is for them to like come up with what they magically want right now when there's so much noise in their brain that they don't know what they magically want right now. So those three dynamics, your partner's nervous system being in the chasing mode and not showing up with leadership in the way that you initiate, can be sabotaging you. And I just want to pause here for a minute and like invite you to offer yourself some self-compassion here, because the root in all of this is like, did anyone ever tell you how to initiate in a nervous system aware way? Did anyone ever tell you how to throw a party your partner's libido wants to come to? Did society teach you that you are only valid as a human if you are like sexy and attractive to another person? And is that not how we evaluate each other in the first couple months of a relationship, right? Like I decide if you're sexy and if I want to have sex with you and if we have good sex. And then I ask myself if I want to marry you and build a life with you. And have we not been taught to like stand outside the window with the boombox and like chase, chase, chase? And have we never been taught how to sit and talk and be with sex and our emotions comfortably, right? Like it is absolutely expected that you would be doing what you are doing because you are using the tools that you've been given. And now that you know better or different, you can do better and different, and you can get a different result. So what do we need to do instead, right? Well, we need to show up with leadership first and foremost. And by that, I mean knowing how to read and attune to your partner's nervous system or get the information that you need. That's leadership. Offering choices instead of putting all the demand and labor on them to figure it out alone, kind of what their body needs. And also managing your own emotions and your own feels and your own responses and feelings about sex, right? And a big part of that is learning to separate validation from sex from your partner. It's like letting go of the need for their desire to be the sole source of what you have to feel attractive with, right? Because when you can interrupt the chasing dynamic, interrupt the love me, love me, love me energy, and instead step into like certainty that your partner loves you and certainty that you're desired, then that in and of itself can become the attraction that you were hoping for, when you essentially stop smothering them with your need. So this is where loving, pressure-free affection that is playful, but maturely playful, leadership playful, becomes key. Think about it. When was the last time you connected with your partner just for the sake of connecting with zero expectation for sex? And maybe it's been a while. A lingering hug, a playful touch on the arm, a shared laugh over something silly, a compliment that wasn't leading anywhere specific. These are the moments that start to gently release the brakes for your partner on their nervous system. They build trust, they create safety, and they remind your partner that connection with you feels good, regardless of what happens next. We want to embrace the pleasure of just kissing you, the pleasure of just making out with you. So this isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding how to create an environment of safety and playfulness where desire has the space to emerge naturally. And it's about building that runway we've been talking about, the gentle invitation that makes connection and desire feel accessible, feel like it's not a leap from 0 to 60, right? Now, I know this can sound like a lot. Like, how do we do this? Sophia, you're asking me to like show up with leadership. You're asking me to do nervous system attunement. Like, you're asking me to do all the shit. Like, how do I do that? How do I initiate in a way that builds connection, not pressure, especially when your partner's shut down and has maybe even asked you like not to initiate anymore, right? How do we create the conditions for desire? How do we manage our own needs? And how do we lead the interaction with confidence when we are also potentially feeling quite hurt at this point if we've been on the merry-go-round of avoidance for a while? This is exactly what I teach you inside the Roommates to Romance Challenge. So it's designed to be super tactical, and I'm giving you the exact skills that you need to initiate connection. Okay, so you can use these skills to initiate sex, but if it's been a long time, you're going to use them just to initiate connection. My goal is for you to have more time spent together feeling good. My goal for you is that your partner doesn't like bristle at your touch, but instead leans into and enjoys whatever it is. And the more moments like that we create, the more we get to the sex part. Okay. We want to step into learning how to read the room, how to initiate that connection and touch, and how to show up with leadership when our own emotions arise, and really how to create this pressure-free space that's going to build affection and connection without those defense mechanisms that are sabotaging you, that are getting in the way. So inside of the Roommates to Romance Challenge, there's basically 3 core pieces, okay? There's 14 days of daily prompts using something I call the Safe Touch Blueprint. These are little prompts that you do in under 5 minutes a day to like share touch, connection, and affection, and kind of recalibrate your relationship so that we're back into playful and pressure-free fun. The second is the rejection recovery toolkit. And so that's going to be what you need to show up with leadership so that you're not bringing your hurt feelings to the situation and you can kind of change that chasing dynamic. And the third is actually a mindful self-pleasure process because it's going to help you to meet your own needs during a time where maybe actual sex or penetration is off the table. You're not bringing that pressure to the table inadvertently so that you can initiate again with nervous system awareness, confidence, and without seeking for validation. The challenge is only $9. I've also got a bonus upgrade for you to do one-on-one coaching with me throughout the 14 days. So we will customize the entire challenge and help you pivot and respond in real time. And all you need to do is click the link below. So to recap for kind of this lesson, like what do I want you to take away from this, right? If you're the higher libido partner, I want you to think about how you're approaching. If you're not approaching with nervous system attunement, you are probably making a move at the wrong time. And I've actually talked to one client in the past about how he sometimes felt like he was deliberately initiating at the wrong time so that he could get the no, so that he could have like evidence against his partner. He could like stack up the no's. So our little monkey brains, they do all kinds of things to get in the way. And if there's anything you take away from this, like improving your sex life is about self-leadership. It's about noticing and knowing your own needs and emotions and being able to speak them with vulnerability. I joke all the time that the P and V in sex is not penis and vagina. It's pleasure and vulnerability. And when we can master those 2 things, we master the art of intimate connection with our partner. If you're ready to show up with leadership, if you're ready to do something different other than have another conversation where you just beg your partner to find some way to fuck you again while they're going through all this perimenopause stuff, then you want to do the challenge. And if you're afraid of blowing up your relationship, I always like to say you can let your relationship slowly die and implode in your inaction and your lack of skill, which we all have around sex, or you can risk everything by doing something different and giving it a shot. Either way. I know which way I want to go. There's also a money back guarantee on the challenge, even though it's only $9, my friends. It's less than a latte. I'm so excited to see you in the challenge. I'm so excited to see you go from nut to night to let's stay up late. Grab it in the link below, and we'll see you next week.